Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Samantha Leighanne and I talk about books. Today we have another edition of the King Chronicles, the long-awaited return of the King Chronicles. And today we are going to be discussing one of the Bachman books, and that is The Running Man. I will be perfectly honest with you, I did not love this book. It seems to me that I do not mesh well with the Bachman books. So far, my favorite has been The Long Walk. This one, I don't know, I just had a really hard time connecting to it. So full transparency, this one probably won't be very long because I didn't enjoy it, so I don't have as much to talk about as I usually do. As always, we talk about fun facts first. We talk about my thoughts on the book. Usually we discuss characters and or themes, but we're probably going to skip that one this time. And then we will go into any connections to previously published Stephen King works. If you are interested in the King Chronicles journey, if this is your first time here, I will link the playlist up above with all of the previously published videos up until this point. If you are unfamiliar with this project, I am reading Stephen King's books in chronological order and discussing my thoughts on the book and the connections as they come up and expand within the Stephen King multiverse. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the fun facts about The Running Man. This was published as a Bachman book in 1982, and it was a Signet paperback when it was originally first published. It's the last of the 4 Bachman books that have been collected together in the image that you see in the thumbnail. Though it is the last in that bind-up, it's not the last time we will see the Bachman name. Usually, King will take about 3 months to write a book, while this one was completely out of the norm because he wrote this book in a single week. This was turned into a film about 5 years after the publication date, and I don't think that I've ever I don't think I've ever seen the movie. But from my understanding, it is vastly different. The film and the book are vastly different, which is very unsurprising. In addition to the fact that the main character, who is Arnold, or the Governator, the Terminator, the stature of him versus the stature of our main character actually in the book, like written in the book, is very, very different. So it's very strange that they decided to cast him, but you know, whatever. This is once again King entering more of a science fiction territory with a dystopian book. And we've definitely seen the science fiction angle before in Firestarter, but this is also not the first time we've seen dystopian, because technically The Stand is also dystopian. So we've seen his foray into both of these before. So let me just jump right into my thoughts and let you know that I have come to the conclusion that the Bachman books are just not for me, and we'll continue to see this as we continue on our journey, because I've read Thinner and I didn't like it. Imagine that. I think the reasoning for this may be because it's more grounded in like reality, so to speak. It's more grounded in the grittiness of human emotion, and it tends to be much more bleak. They're a lot darker. They're like really grounded in like cynicism, and overall just like super angry. I've seen it argued that these books are kind of like King's inner voice and his inner cynicism really coming out on page, which is the other reason that he chose to publish these particular books under the pseudonym. I will say that I think that it's interesting that the way that this book is and where it's set in a dystopian universe where people are entertained by desperate people who need money. And that is weirdly accurate to the time that we are in now. How often do we watch game shows of people who are like absolutely desperate and have these sob stories on like American Idol and things like that? Like, we thrive off of that. And again, like, the accuracy to the time that we're in now is just like really interesting. As far as the plot goes, like, the game show part isn't even the main focus. Like, there's just this overall sadness and bleakness that just permeates through the whole book. And the ending of the book is full of like, it's twists and turns and shocked, and like, you really did not see the end of the book coming, which I commend. It still doesn't, like, the events of the end of the book still do not feel like a win to me, because there's just so much sadness, and it's like, there's so much sadness and everything is just terrible. Like, there is literally no hope even at the end of this, and it's just so bleak. And I think that that's what turns me off of it, is that I like at least like a little bit of a nugget of hope, and there's just not that in this book. the actions at the end, like, he doesn't save anyone. Like, it doesn't help anyone. It's just pain and sadness and bleakness. And it honestly feels a lot like the ending of Roadwork as well. And really even Rage, like there's not really any hope at the end of that either. This tends to be a thing with Bachman books. I did really like the fact that the chapters though were kind of like set up in a countdown fashion. And I do think that that kind of like helped the pacing. Like you knew when it was coming to an end because like you're getting closer to one, you know, which to me kind of paralleled the Long Walk, because in the Long Walk you're also counting down, but there you're counting down like how many people are left in the game. And when you think about it, like the Long Walk was kind of a game show too, and it was also dystopian. So very close parallels actually, just, you know, different. Close parallels but different. Overall, like I said, the Bachman books are just not my favorite. Like they're raw and they're angry and they generally don't have any hope in them. And I just have a really hard time with that. Again, like give me something, give me some kind of nugget of hope. I think especially now with just the way that the world is and how rough the last year has been, I really struggle with books that are that bleak. Like I get what he was trying to do, I get what he was trying to say, but it's not what I wanted to read. So again, like I'm not saying that this is a bad book, just for me, it didn't necessarily work. It's not one of my favorites of his. And like I said, we're just not going to discuss characters because like I don't have anything to say. You know, like I just don't have anything to say. If it's not my favorite, like I don't want to spend a bunch of time talking about this. And it's not my favorite, and then I also don't feel like there's any like real connection right now to the overall multiverse. So I don't even have a lot to talk about in terms of that. Like there's a mention of Derry in this book, but at this point in our multiverse, we haven't had a story take place in Derry. So technically that's not even a connection to a previously published work. That's going to be a callback later on. So like literally there are no connections to this. So it's just sad and it's just bleak and it doesn't have any connections. And here we are. So yeah, like there you have it. I think this is my shortest King Chronicles that I've literally ever done because I just disliked it so much that I don't really have a lot to say. I mean, I don't really think that there's a ton of analyzation to be done here. And again, because we don't have very many connections to the multiverse, there's not really a lot to discuss there either. So if I missed any connections, like please comment down below and let me know. It's very, very possible that I missed something, but I didn't see anything, especially since it was a dystopian and didn't, you know, take place, you know, in the traditional like world, I guess. So yeah, that's The Running Man. That is all I have to say about The Running Man. So next up, we will be discussing The Gunslinger. And I am so excited, so very excited to talk about this because it is the beginning of our chapter into the Dark Tower. However, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know this now. Whenever I discuss The Gunslinger, I am going to be discussing it in a broader sense as far as like the multiverse, the Stephen King as a whole, okay? Those videos will not be as long. The videos that I create on the Dark Tower series for the King Chronicles will be shorter because I actually plan on doing a deep dive into the Dark Tower series as a whole. And so what I kind of plan on doing is doing the general King Chronicles with like the fun facts and just the overall plot and my overall thoughts. My overall thoughts on the characters and then those connections into the Stephen King multiverse. Like bare bones, we're gonna bare bones those videos just as part of, you know, this playlist. There will also be a separate video where we will discuss the Dark Tower universe as a whole. I think because the Dark Tower is so intricate and there's so much going on in those books and there's so many connections that deserves a series all on its own. Not to mention, I just feel like I'm gonna have a lot of fun actually creating those videos. So that is something that you guys can expect to see. I did a poll on my community tab and it seemed that the majority of you guys are 100% down for this Dark Tower series that I'll be doing separately. So I am excited to bring that to you. And I will be filming those videos together at the same time. So they'll go up one after the other. So where I do the King Chronicles and then I'll do the deep dive like directly after. So if you're just looking for a quick little whatever about the Gunslinger, then you'll be able to watch that. Or if you want to start the deep dive, but it will still be going in chronological order. So we won't see the drawing of the three until we get to that place in the King Chronicles and so on and so forth, because it just makes sense to do everything together. So, but that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm really excited to bring you the Gunslinger, especially because this one wasn't my favorite, and we've got some really good King Chronicles coming up that I'm really excited to actually bring to you because they are some of my favorite books. Upcoming, we have Pet Sematary, which is absolutely one of my favorite Stephen King books of all time. So really excited about where the series is going. Tell me your thoughts on The Running Man below. Do you like this book? Do you hate this book? Tell me all about it in the down bar. If this is your first time here, hi, hello, and welcome. I talk about Stephen King, I talk about horror, I talk about a lot of different things. So if you like what you see and you want to see more, you can click thumbs up. You can click subscribe if you haven't already. You can also get at me at any of my social media links that can be found in the down bar below. Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram are my socials. And there's also a variety of other ways in the down bar that you can support me as well. So thank you guys so very much for watching. And I will see you all next time. Bye.